We sometimes hear about amazing things that take place, and at times the story may be so phenomenal that it's difficult to believe. I know that all of us realize that the news tends to make things stand out in order to gain viewers, but at the same time, there are some interesting things out there that are just too amazing for them to be untrue. I think that's how many people feel when they hear about Casey Hathaway, a 3-year-old boy who disappeared from his grandmother's home in North Carolina. As you can imagine, it was a situation that caused everybody in the family to panic. When a child wanders off alone and gets lost, especially in the wilderness, the chances of finding them alive again are quite slim. They found him 3 days later, alive and well. Who does he credit for his survival in the woods? A bear. In January 2019, 3-year-old Casey Hathaway was at his grandmother's house in North Carolina. He was playing in the backyard with 2 other children, but when the other 2 kids came inside, Casey was not with them. His parents describe him as a very curious child, so they thought that perhaps something took his interest and he wandered off to explore. When his grandmother realized that Casey was nowhere to be found, she called the police. "He was walking in the woods back there and we can't find him," she told the 911 dispatcher. "The other ones came through the house but left him there, and he walked off somewhere and we can't find him." The search began immediately to find the little boy, as the incoming weather was set to be quite bad. The first night Casey was missing, the temperatures dropped to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It didn't seem as if anybody was all too optimistic about the odds of finding the little boy in the middle of the winter. After all, it was freezing cold in North Carolina. And as the day turned into night and even the next day, the odds of finding the little boy diminished.
Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and click that notification bell to get inspired by these animal stories every day. Now back to the story.
It was the middle of January, and Casey was not properly dressed to handle such a difficult situation. The conditions were so bad, in fact, the search had to be called off. Needless to say, the family was losing hope quickly. The chances of him being found were low. The chances of him being found alive were even slimmer. The search included helicopters, drones, canine units, divers, and hundreds of volunteers. Authorities urged volunteers to stay away the second night due to the brutal conditions. Not at all dressed for such weather, the family was losing hope quickly. Then, after being missing for 2 nights, rescue teams responded to someone who reported hearing a baby crying in the woods. After some searching, they finally found him tangled up in some thorny bushes. The rescuers had to wade through waist-high water to get to the tiny boy. He was cold and wet with a few minor scratches, but otherwise unharmed. All he wanted was some water and his mother. The question on everyone's minds was, how did this tiny little boy survive 2 nights in freezing, rainy conditions like that with nothing but a few scratches? While he was in the hospital afterward getting checked out by doctors, he informed his family how. According to Casey, he made a friend in the woods who helped to keep him warm. That friend was none other than a black bear. He said he hung out with a bear for 2 days. His aunt, Brianna Hathaway, wrote in a Facebook post, "God sent him a friend to keep him safe. God is a good God. Miracles do happen." Since then, Casey's story about the bear has made international headlines. Some debating about whether or not such a thing is possible. Some dismiss the story as a fantasy. But Chris Norcott, a wildlife photographer who spends more time with black bears in North Carolina than probably anyone else, thinks the story could very well be true. He's even heard similar tales in the past. "I believe him," Norcott told the Dodo. "Over the years, I've seen many behaviors which demonstrated their concern and nurturing side towards their own offspring and other animals. This could certainly be possible," Norcott said. "I don't know if that meant he saw a bear," Sheriff Hughes said. "I don't know if that meant a bear embraced him or what it meant." Perhaps for Casey's sake, it doesn't matter. For the little boy, a bear, real or fictive, helped Casey survive while he was scared and alone. And that's something everyone can agree is a beautiful thing. Members of the community have started sending Casey teddy bears to congratulate him on his safe return home. "I thought it was a very cute story," Sheriff Hughes said. And if that's what helped that child survive through this, you know what? I'm going to embrace that story. Naturally, the story seems pretty unbelievable. Coming from a curious, imaginative 3-year-old, even less so. Of course, no one has any way to either confirm or deny whether or not his tale is true. There are plenty of black bears in North Carolina, so encountering one wouldn't be a stretch. Befriending it enough so that it snuggles you and keeps you warm at night, however? Well, we'll probably never know. The important part of this story is the happy ending. This story could have ended in tragedy like so many others like it in the past. Instead, the rescuers found Casey alive, healthy, and unharmed. Imaginary bear friend or not, that's something to be celebrated. After the incident, his mother went on to tell everyone just how grateful and thankful she was for his safe return. She went into further detail about how he's doing and said that he was well. Apparently, he'd already been asking to watch Netflix again.
If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with your friends and family. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one.